Hello and welcome back to my live paint and chat. I hope you guys are having a good day. It's Wednesday, January 8th. So we're a week into the new year, and I found it to be exhausting so far. For whatever reason today I've been dragging and I'm super tired. But either way, I can still get some painting done, and that's what we're here for, right? So tonight my project is Mr. Dragovich of Warmachine. He's an attachment, a command attachment specifically, I'm waiting for this thing to focus, specifically for the Man of War demo core. And he seems to offer some good tools. I will be attending Indystorm at the end of this month, and I need to have a Warmachine list. So painting up some stuff, figuring out what all I want in my list. But what about you guys? How are you doing tonight? I see we've already got several people in the chat. See if I can figure out who all you are. So War Budgies, you're first to join. Welcome. Happy New Year, and it's good to see you. I've been doing all right. Mandragora, welcome. Paul, as always, thank you so much for moderating. Samuel, welcome. Counterslam, hey there. How you doing, Eric? I'm getting ready for your event, so I'll see you at the end of the month. Let's see. War Budgies, you're unpacking some... Oh, no. Paul is unpacking more Underworld stuff. Oh yeah, I think I saw you post a picture about that. So welcome. Zach, welcome. Painting the Kadors red. That's right. That's right. Corin, hello, welcome. Who else is here? Lorian, welcome. Zach, SXSPS, welcome. Todd, welcome. Jay Alexander, welcome. Counterslam, by the way, so he's in the chat here. He's running the convention Indystorm, which is an event happening in Indianapolis at the end of this month, January 31st, February 2nd. So if you have any questions about the event, he's here. You can bug him about that, and I will get to painting because I need to have a list for Warmachine when I get up there. It's going to be the only army. I guess it's going to be really the only army I'm bringing up. That did bring up the question. I was curious as to whether or not everybody in chat already had convention plans for this year so far. So far I've got 3 lined up. I should be able to get to Adepticon as well, and so that's all in just the first quarter of the year. So Indystorm will be the first one, and then I'll be going to Genghis-Con 2 weeks later, and that's in Denver, and then Adepticon in Chicago, in Chi-Town at the end of March. So that'll be super fun. And yeah, so what all are you guys working on tonight anyway? Paul was talking about Warhammer Underworlds and the amount of list building that goes into it. So yeah, there's a fair bit. I've avoided it. I literally pawned off the list building and just deal with the cards that I have. I'm sure I can change that up later, but I kind of like just reacting to the stuff I have in front of me rather than necessarily min-maxing a list. I don't think I'm particularly good at that anyway. It's never hugely into the card games. Anywho, so. Alright, so as you can see, I've kind of gotten a start on him anyway, just because watching somebody paint red all over everything for half an hour probably isn't the most exciting thing. That said, I still have a lot to paint on him. Got my nutmeg brown out and red as well, so I'm kind of just going back and forth between those 2 base colors, which means I should be able to more or less keep up with the chat. Conan, no convention plans this year, at least not wargaming. Fair enough. Never know though, we're really early in. Maybe you'll be able to attend something if that's what you're interested in. Of course, there's always amazing other conventions like Dragon Con, which I hope to check out one of these years. That looks super fun. And San Diego Comic Con, any of the comic conventions. Actually, I probably will go to the local one here. I think, is it the 18th, I want to say, of this month? We have the Albuquerque Comic Convention, so I will probably be in attendance there. I might even wear my Jill Valentine outfit. That'd be kind of cool. Go there as a cosplayer. I haven't done that in a while. So, thoughts. I'm headed to my first 40K tournament this weekend, upstate, and then on to Captain Con, Rhode Island. Oh, nice. Captain Con was the one that was originally crowdfunded, right? I think I remember that from a few years ago when it first started. I hope you enjoy. Hacking away at scatter terrain. And did I hear alright that Paul posts things on the gram of Instas or the Book of Faces? Instagram. I don't think he uses Facebook at all. Todd might try to make it to Genghis Khan. Never been, but it could be fun. Only an hour away. Oh yeah, check it out. I mean, the website's nice. It's Genghis Khan, Colorado. Not to take away from your convention, Eric. They don't compete. They're totally separate. GenghisKhanColorado.com is that one, and they're doing a bunch of stuff with like RPGs and card games and stuff. Kolar, yes, that's right. Ataka guy. Not to hurt the mood, but I'm writing a series of stories about the brush fire. Oh yeah, brush fires impacting towns near me. So I follow Chris Hemsworth on Instagram because he's adorable and amazing, and he's been mentioning that as well. And there's been a lot of fundraisers, and I think like the artist Pink donated to it. Like, it sounds really scary what's going on there, and I know there's been some weather helping, but golly, I hope they can get that under control, because that is crazy what's going on over there. Still painting my Tyranids Haruspecs. Yeah, it sounds like that'd probably take a while. Paul, I'm at a huge tabletop sale on Sunday, then going to Warhammer World again in March. Oh, I'm so jealous. I want to go. Now that I'm well underway with 40k, I'm learning Cricks for even more gaming, Goreshade, Lore Cavalry, and all of the Banes. Ugh, why you go with Cricks? They're the most evil of all of the factions. They're pretty cool though, and you've got an incredibly powerful army, so there's that. You have to save your days off. Fair enough, Conan. I definitely understand. Lainey, I'm eating cheese and grapes right now. What are your favorite cheeses? Munster. It's amazing. It's a really, really good one. Probably followed by mozzarella. I'm eating, so, or veggies. Didn't see that in chat. So you guys can chat there. Out of nowhere, but have you ever been a fan of naval war movies, particularly submarine flicks? You know, in the last 5-6 years, I've really super gotten into like war movies generally. Don't think I've seen too many of submarine movies. I would though. One of the really cool things about attending Adepticon last year was my friend Aaron from Cool Guys Nation took me to the Museum of Science and Industry, where they actually have the German U-boat that was captured in World War II, where they were able to decode their codes and everything with the Enigma machine. So we got a tour of that, and they actually tell the story of how the U-boat got captured. And I also have on my Steam library the U-boat simulator that I want to get at some point. It's on my wish list. So yes, I'm interested. No, I have not seen most of the movies. Do you have a recommendation? All right, fine. You have a very long name, though. And it's not lazy, it's just overwhelmed. So what is it? Ataka Kunakata? You get that once. So thank you, though. Just Adepticon, first time this year. Welcome, Brute. So, submarine flicks. Yeah, that was my really long answer to that. Minimal convention plans for the first half of the year, but I'm doing Valhalla in the fall. Dang it, regardless of where we get assigned. Oh, I'd be really excited to see you again. Let's see here. Paul will relate to this. Fires have burned through the area about the same size as the UK. I'm safe, though. That's all we need to say. Don't want to make everyone sad. Well, definitely good luck to you, and I hope that does get under control. Swiss is so good with grapes. I don't know that I've really had that. I'm not much of a fan of mixing fruit and cheese. It's more of a European thing, I've noticed. So, yeah. Greetings. Can't always play the good guys. I'm already playing the Space Marines. Fair enough. Up Periscope is great. Naval sub comedy. Oh, interesting. It hadn't occurred to me to look for a comedy. That's an interesting thought. Let's see. So that'll be metal. That'll be metal. So this guy has a lot of fur and trophies. I think he's got like a Wolf of Ouroboros here. We've got a Signar helmet. We've got a Warjack head from, I believe, Menoth. Just some generic skulls from dudes who I think just pissed him off. It's a very aggressive fellow. So, you see. Big fan from the Philippines. Welcome. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Hope all is well with you and Happy New Year. So yeah, midweek, a little bit exhausted, but this is actually really nice. Be able to chill out and get some painting done. And so much to do. This is what the guy's supposed to look like, by the way, if you're curious. He's got all of that garbage on him. But he has really good rules too, so I don't know. Let's see, I would recommend K-19 and U-571. Those are good sub-movies. Oh yeah? U-boot. Why I bought subs up around New Year's. I remembered the U-boot game from Kickstarter. It's amazing. Game map plus card decks, resin, machinery, and guns. Oh my goodness. No, I didn't get into it. So I haven't done any of the naval warfare tabletop games. That is a whole other animal. Even just general historical wargaming I haven't. And is it Chronic Toast isn't in here, but he is a huge fan of bolt action and was showing me how to run that game this past Valhalla. And so I've learned how to play the game, and it's super fun. And then, of course, I've got Dust, so that's about my extent into the historical war games, barring Cthulhu. It's historical, right? Ish. The shaved head is very aerodynamic. You're watching the documentary. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I'm not crazy about documentaries, but it's absolutely insane. That's not the one about the guy being mean to cats, is it? I haven't seen any of the documentaries lately. There was a really interesting series of a year or so back I watched that were just documentaries over the decades, and so, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I guess they have the aughts out now, which I haven't gotten to. Those are pretty interesting. But I mostly watched documentaries as a kid. Just being redundant with my coverage at this point. Oh, we can probably go ahead and get his head painted though. Dan! Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Happy New Year, jerk. The butcher's looking really great. Stop it, Tristan. Just stop. Stop. My dad did a ton of historical wargaming with 15mm armies. Yeah, that's really small. It's teeny tiny. Teeny tiny. Anyway, Dan, he's the dude that I fought at Valhalla. With my Warmachine guys, with my Sorcerer army, in fact, that he completely destroyed. Because we decided we would make up this scenario, and well, I really enjoyed the scenario. It didn't go in my favor at all. Ho-hum. Anyway, Dan, what are you up to? There's people here who miss you. Tell them about your life. He's probably off hiking in, Africa right now. Or he's getting ready to. Man's globe-trotted so much in the last, 3 years. I say that out of jealousy. Paint his head. Oh, he's got this goatee thing going on and everything. Whew. He's got a nicely defined face, though, so it'll actually be really cool to cut in the details for that. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, so Kadoran, kind of thinking black hair for him. Black goatee, evil beard. Happy New Year, Dirtwad. Yeah, whatever. Miranda, do you visit the Art Institute in downtown Chicago? No, I had time for one. In fact, I didn't even get to finish at the Museum of Science and Industry. There's a whole mineshaft area that looked amazing that we just didn't have time for. So maybe this year, maybe I'm going to go visit the Art Institute. And since I've been obsessed with the idea of starting a project to make 40K Chaos Club, kind of a perfect fit. Yes, on the U-boat stuff. Very cool. I have to get back to the miniature gaming again. Been playing for 7 years. Nice. Oh, it is a documentary about the guy being mean to cats. I just don't think it could handle that. Like, I've seen too much news at this point about like actual just horrible things that people are doing, and I know this is a documentary of actual horrible things somebody was doing, and it's like I already know enough about that. I grew up in a town where like it was awful, but there was a rash for a while when I was growing up of some random group of people running around torturing people's pets and stuff, and I was like, I can't handle that very well anymore. Like, I'm not gonna seek it out. So perhaps for another time I will just hear what people had to say about it. I guess they caught the guy finally, but it seemed to have taken way too long. Got back from climbing gym. Of course you did. Well, good, Dan. I'm glad somebody around here is staying active. I will need to start doing that. We have a climbing gym here. The next time you visit, we can go. You can watch me be sad and bad at it. There we go. This guy looks so angry. He's got like this Rasputin face. I don't know if you can tell. Just frowny, perma scowl. And extrovert paints. Welcome. I'm about to play Northgard with Owen. Awesome Viking RTS. Oh, are you gonna play Warcraft 3 Reforged? Because I'm gonna get that one. One of these days I will finish my Hyperion, yet I sit here not working on it. You'll get there. Just have to like go at it from a running start one afternoon and just, it's gonna be out of the blue and you're gonna be like, all right, I'm doing this. And you jump in and then it'll just go into a really long time getting finished. It'll be fine. What are you painting? Warmachine stuff? Hello, Logan. I am painting Warmachine stuff. This is Dragos Dragovich. This guy. And he's an attachment for Manowar Democor. And Democor are very unimpressive right now, but with him, they're pretty good. So thinking of having that in my list. Undecided as of yet, but everything needs to get painted anyway. Lurian, all this naval talk wants me to revive the idea of painting some of those Cadoran overload airboats. Airboats like a fishing fleet. Nice. Pirates of the Caribbean style integrated crew that don't need to sleep and can't leave their post. Mutation fins and tendrils instead of engines. Great longevity and super quiet subs. Felt like the subs could turn on you at any moment. Viper Taha, welcome. Just read The Cats of Ulthar. Find out what happens to people who are mean to cats. Miranda, shout out to my buddy Neil. I was pitching your channel to him at game night on Saturday. That's when he does his mini painting. And it turns out he's been a fan of yours for years. Oh my god, that's awesome. Well, shout out to Neil. Good taste. Resting Gator face. That's fair, actually. I appreciate that. Your skin looks flawless. What moisturizer do you use? I use a weird organic one I found on Amazon, but I don't remember the name. That man is definitely not compensating with those pauldrons or hammers. No. Your power level is directly related to your pauldron size in the world of Warmachine. And followed up by your hammers. He's just, I don't know. It's just, he does seem kind of like a jerk. Here I am, hanging out, being attracted to jerks, following so many stereotypes right now. Bombardiers are boss. Always loved running with chainsaw guns. Dude, I've had such mixed results with the freaking bombardiers. I feel like they do nothing half the time. Most of the time, they're slow and clunky, and like they always happen to. They're like barely not in range of anything, which is very frustrating. And they miss all the time. Even with Rat 6, they miss all the time. Like, I've personally not had a good run-in with them. But I do have... I might have 2 units of them. I only have one that's actually painted and set up, but... I mean, I've got them. Is that what you... I don't know. Don't feel super confident with them. I think that they used to be super overcosted in Mark II. Like, it was completely pointless to bring them because they were only Rat 5, I want to say. And they had, like, critical chain attack and repeat attack or whatever it was. And just nobody cared about them for points and their slowness, which is still a problem in this game. Is really what got them. But, Demo Corps actually were quite good in Mark II, and then they took away all their benefits and made them very generic and boring. Like, they took away both their Weapon Master hit and their double swing. And they're just like, nope, you're just plain old regular troops now. You hit once with this Ice Maul, and, well, if they're already critical freeze and then shatter, I mean, it's okay, but not anything to write home about. Just wipe all the paint off as I paint. Could have just said he seems Kadoran. Alright, fine. Twisted, you win that one. He's a chonky boy. He's a little chonky. All the Manowar are a little chunky. Even Sorsha's like kind of waddling around in her armor. And your power level is cut in half if you put a helmet on. That's true. Well, don't forget, a lot of these guys run around with plot armor. You following all the sisters stuff, Paul Miranda? That Celestine statue has me foaming at the mouth to get one painted up. I don't think I caught that one. I've been, I guess, trailing behind on the news for the sister stuff. I did see their announcement at the new year of their army box, or the end of December, with their army box, but I haven't been following beyond that. These Grimwatch parts are push fit. Oh yeah, that's right, that's the Underworld stuff. Those Warmachine models look a lot like Chronopia. Oh wow, I haven't heard that name in a while. Have you ever tried to run smoke out of the stack? And mine one turn a gargantuan? Huh? I have not done either of those things. Man, does that mean you need to trash a unit to eat up fire or giant? Or grant... Ugh. Does that mean you need to a trash unit to eat up fire or grant them cover to get them into charge? So, with Sorsha 3... No, she doesn't really give them much in the way of benefit. With Atanis and Stanley Flagovich that I was painting several months ago, they will give them Pathfinder, which is super helpful. Because I'm looking at a Sorsha 3 list, but she has a very, very real Pathfinder problem. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to get around that. And one of them is Atanis Arkovich, and the Standard Bearer, Stanley Flagovich. So that would be one way of getting them in, because at least if they can get Pathfinder, you can kind of put them behind terrain. They can also run, you can also bait people in, you know, with trade pieces like warjacks and such. Oh yeah, the unreadable sister dice. Okay, Paul, you did send me a picture of that. The sister battle dice are pretty, but I would be completely impossible to use in a battle report. Ken, I've actually been toying with the idea of a second Warmachine army and starting the Manowar list, even though I'm not a big fan of Khador. Just like the Manowars plus the recent additions. Their models have been really good. I mean, again, you can see the detail in this guy. It's quite good. So, worth checking out as far as, I mean, it's kind of a big investment if you're doing a second army just to do the Manowar, but you'd probably enjoy painting them, I assume. I've also been, I don't know, just sort of list theorizing lately, because I guess if I'm going to be playing at the end of the month, it's kind of fun. 'Cause you hang out in War Room and you're like, well, what if I did this? Or what if I did this? Well, what are these requisition options? What are these requisition options? Because everything's a requisition now. And then there's like all the Oblivion rules with the weird alliances. I think I'm just going to stay away from that. I feel like my Khador dudes don't really want to ally too much with anyone anyway. I'm not bringing a bunch of Menoth stuff, for example. Not that I have a whole crap ton of cavalry anyway. But, you know, ho-hum. Get that on there. How is Sir Flagovich these days? He's good. He's getting some fights in. Have a look when you can. It's pretty spectacular looking. I'll be not getting the dice. But I will be pre-ordering the Sisters as they release. Fair enough. The more unreadable the GW dice, the more I love them. Oh, Paul, bless your heart. Sure, 1 fleur-de-lis means 6, but 2 means 2. Then there's an Iron Halo skulls just for funsies. I'll probably order some purple and gold dice to match my theme. Fair enough. I think the intent behind Elf-Faction specific dice is to make them completely impossible to read. It's like a tactical advantage, right? Where they're like, what does that say? And you're like, oh, it's totally a 6. Well, that's called cheating, mister. Alright, painting the Khadors. Gold. The next color is gold. So yeah, that's kind of my thought. So no other conventions. I guess we've got an Adepticon attendee, possibly someone going to Genghis Khan. Anybody in the Indianapolis, middle of the country area? Because y'all have a convention at the end of this month. And what else? I haven't even looked at conventions beyond that. I did get the Valhalla website updated, so those dates are official. Oh wait, did I put out the dates? No, I just have the countdown for the Kickstarter. Gosh, I'm doing great. Anyway, yes, that's what I'm working on. First quarter of the year always seems to be crazy busy anyway. Oh dear. I prefer them readable, but I admit I have the Ideneth deep skin dice just because they look good. Fair enough. You play with squig dice, don't you? Sadly, the sister dice are a step up from the ones in the box set. Oh, really? I'm not sure. I bought the Dark Reaper dice when Eldar got their stuff. They're pretty easy to read, just small size overall. Fair enough. Actually, if I can borrow your audience, any good con-wise near Colorado Springs? Colorado Springs. Well, that's not that far from Denver. And I am going to a convention in Aurora. But I don't know. Does anybody else have any suggestions for... Are you talking about wargaming cons or just general gaming conventions? I own the squig dice. Of course you do, Paul. All I know about the Indiana area is Gen Con. Well, Eric, I don't know if you're still in here, but you might bring up your convention. I know for this one that I'm going to, it's literally the first year of that convention, so it's brand new. But there does seem to be a bit of a lack of conventions sort of in the middle of the country. And so, obviously there's Gen Con, but as far as like wargaming goes, you're way over in Chicago, or there's stuff in, I assume stuff in California. You've got LVO, which is a little more central, but... And then you've got like Nova, and so that's over in like Washington or DC area. PAX, of course, for oh my gosh, Lock and Load. That's Washington. So they always seem to be like all around the country, but not very many like deeply in the country. some questions about Indystorm. Describe it. Describe it for our lovely audience tonight. What all will be at Indystorm this year? Who's your target audience? Okay. And while you answer that, I'm going to see if I can get this brown coverage a little faster. What's this fellow look like again? Oh my gosh, he has so much brass everywhere. Okay, this is fine. Alright, let's get his belt. There we go. Nice seeing you all again. Have to head to bed. Have a good night. Thank you, extrovert. Appreciate you hanging out. Kobold Con happens around here in the springs at some point, and Genghis Con up in Denver, like an hour away. Nice. Indie PopCon, Starbase Indie, Gen Con, Indystorm now, InCon. Who's your con? What are all these? Are they seriously all conventions? Good night. It's crazy. I have Comic-Con. Yeah, and most cities have a Comic-Con, but there's like the big ones, right? And Albuquerque. Bless our hearts doesn't really have like a big one. Although we get some decent people. And they're generally pretty friendly too, so I've appreciated that. Alright, so that can be metal. That is most certainly probably brassy gold. Oh, they're all just red, huh? Kind of like that. I'll just do these then. Me just following the box art. When in doubt, just go there. Happy wargaming. Hello, humans. Why, hello, Happy. How are you today? Hope you're enjoying yourself. Just getting some rain on my key doors. You know how it is. These weapons are gonna have to get painted pretty soon. Face is looking like it can probably do with some painting as well. So maybe we can go ahead and get. Can I get his face on? I'm trying to decide if I want to run that risk just yet. Because if I paint his face, then I get nervous about anything else, like accidentally getting on there. It'll probably be one of the later steps, unfortunately. That's fine. But you know what we can do? Metal. Stay. When in doubt, Gene Stealer purple or Kador red. It's fair. Building an endless stream of Tau drones. I'd like to apologize to all my future opponents. Good light. For those that don't know, our convention is a qualifier for Warfare Weekend, WITS, local tournament series, and the Iron Gauntlet. Winners will win big. Nice. Well, that's pretty cool. So that's specifically for Warmachine folks, I presume, at least for Iron Gauntlet. Just need to wait for good priming weather so I can prime some new models. That's hard to do in winter. We get some nice days here, though. Actually, today in the afternoon was really nice. But beyond that, yeah, it can be tricky to find those times. Oh, I think I'm going to go with a more narrow one here. Let's get some metal painted in here. Gene Stealer purple. Good gracious. Purple's a perfectly fine color. Just doesn't belong on most things. I'm just saying that to annoy Paul. Alright, so we're cutting in his detail here. As soon as this silly camera decides to focus. Ta-da! Alright, so yes, metal. The metal goes on the model. So yeah, I guess that'll be interesting if you've got the Iron Gauntlet. So you're probably expecting a lot of Warmachine people to be there. Are you guys doing any 40K? I mean, is that going to be a thing at Indystorm, or is this focused more on the smaller games? I know you've got like a Keyforge tournament, and you're going to have Artemis there, which is kind of cool. An intimidating game, but it sure is fun. I'm not reacting to that "it doesn't belong" comment. Whatever. Some guy's being painted. Looks like he views all his problems like nails for some reason. You know, there's a certain simplicity to life when you literally have one tool for handling everything. What's the wargaming scene like down around Indy? Efficacious, my goodness. That's a lovely polysyllabic expression. Indeed. I guess I missed that. Oh yeah, war budgies. Agrax. I'm probably honestly gonna null oil this guy. Just saying. He's running around in steam-powered armor. It's run on coal. He is sooty. A sooty man. That's what he is. While you guys are chatting about Indystorm, I finally got, speaking of robots, I finally got around to seeing the new Terminator Dark Fate movie, which was very okay. When I was leaving, I figured to myself, like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if you made like a Terminator movie, but it acted like actual computers, right? Not just where if you throw it into a volcano, it comes out and, reforms and everything's fine, it's fine and it's still super dangerous, but more like where you put everything together just right and you try to boot it up and it just doesn't work for any reason. Or it just starts opening stupid programs because it like downloaded some virus off the internet because it was curious. Like, that's the type of Terminator movie I think I would end up making, where it was just an actual robot acting like actual AI, like that weird AI that got on Twitter and became like apparently really racist or awful or whatever. You're like, no, this is the future, just so you know. We all want to hand our lives into control of this. That's my future Terminator movie. Big pitch. Trying to find groups, but I have a small group of friends. 40K is big, Kings of War is big. Kings of War is huge in the Midwest generally. Null oil. That's right, war budgies. Infinity's getting bigger. Warmachine's kind of stagnant. Malifaux is getting bigger slowly. Good dedicated group. Fair enough. You can never have too much purple on a model. Like you can never have too many mushrooms on a pizza. Oh my god. Everything's the worst when it comes out of your mouth. Twisted. Terminator. Of Terminator, I'd heard if you'd seen 1 and 2. This does nothing new. Well, it pretends one of those doesn't exist. Or Terminator IT Nightmares. See, exactly. It'd be amazing. I mean, a Terminator made by Microsoft. Actually, yes, I figured the actual fall of whatever the version of Skynet and Cyberdyne and stuff would be at that point would just be pure bit rot. Like, people were completely subjected to robot AI and complied with it because people would rather follow the rules. And there's, some people and groups and such that would fight against the robots, but most people are like, no, what it's doing is fine. You make excuses for tyrannical jackals. And but finally it was like just bit rot and just failures of bad programming that eventually just caused it all to collapse. And then we have, you know, the post-apocalypse where people don't remember how to grow food or, you know, things that they've forgotten. I think 40K's history goes back a little bit like that, where we just forgot how to do anything because we relied so much on technology. So, makes me kind of want to be down there. I'm up around the South Bend area, and hell, my local shop stopped selling Warmachine. I think mine here more or less did too. Like, there's still some Warmachine models on the rack from several years ago that they've never restocked and have never sold, unfortunately. Terminator. Siri pretends she can't understand you. That was a great joke. What was it, a College Humor or an SNL skit where the Siri was like mediating the couple's dispute, and they're like, Siri, you tell her. And Siri's like, I'm not going to say that. That's a little too aware, though. You have sympathy for the machine at that point. I still wouldn't have sympathy for it. It's still like, it's no you know, Steam Jack or War Jack that has the personality like a dog, where you just want to hug it and then realize it's, you know, probably going to burn your flesh off to do that because it's a hot boiling machine, but, you know, whatever. All this Warmachine talk's actually gotten me pretty excited about playing again. And then I have to get in some practice games. I've got a few friends around here that I'm trying to press gang into learning how to play. It looks like Minoth seems to be the popular one among my friends, for whatever that's worth. So I happen to have been collecting multiple armies, so I have that one. That'll be interesting. We'll get that one in there. Alright, so he's got that. That can be metal there. Got a bajillion rivets to paint on this guy. No biggie. So in your Terminator movie, it still does the whole Skynet apocalypse thing, but by accident. Well, there are a few people that would probably see it coming just because they know something about, you know, there's signs, right? You can see a program starting to wear out. I mean, if you have a phone for more than 2 years, you watch it like try to kill itself basically and just get real slow, and it wants to put more updates on, but it gets really bloated with the updates and it doesn't handle running everything new very well. And so I think there'll be plenty of people who can anticipate that. They'll be the ones that rebirth society. That's the most likely outcome anyway. As far as on accident, it would just be like a virus working its way through, because the AI doesn't care one way or another. I don't know that machines necessarily have like a survival instinct. They just do what they're programmed, right? I mean, you've had interesting ones. The Borg is a very interesting, you know, villain in that regard. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't written this movie. But I think it would be a refreshing approach to the Terminator series, because it was like when I watched, oh gosh, what was it called? Was it Black Hat? What's the one where Chris Hemsworth plays a hacker? And there's this scene that just was very incongruent in my mind, where him and his teammate or whatever like have this box of computer parts, and in like 10 minutes they have this computer up and running, and I'm like, no, I've built a computer. And I've had plenty of friends who've built computers. And usually what happens when you build a computer is you turn it on and you're like, all right, what's the first thing that's gone wrong? But I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad at it. Who knows? It's because Minoth is scientifically amazeballs. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, but I think Warmachine needs a full reboot. Oh man, I do wonder a little bit if Warcaster is that for Warmachine Twisted. I know what you mean. Funny trivia. Supposedly Arnold wanted to do the German dub because he speaks German, but they turned him down because his Austrian accent would make him sound like a farmer. Huh. For sure, yeah. We can have sympathy for a pencil if you name it. Humans are weird. We bond with inanimate things all the time. It's very true. Very true. Couldn't Warcaster technically... Yeah, there you go. Be considered a reboot. Even though it's like an alternate timeline future type deal. There's not enough really about it, other than the fact that they're really going all in on the Warcaster and probably the Warcaster mechanic, so we'll see. Yeah. Florida was working in DC at the turn of the century and people were losing their minds. Oh gosh, that's right, the whole Y2K scare. All the banks are gonna lose my financial data. I'm gonna be poor. Everybody buy Beanie Babies. I remember that. Good times. And I guess there were a few things, but yeah, it turned out, much to the disappointment of many, it was not, in fact, the end of the world. Then the end of the world was supposed to happen like a year or two later, and then that didn't happen. A bunch of people were disappointed. Why are people sad when the world doesn't end? What's up with that? Alright, you got enough metal on you. Put some... need more red there. Alright, I'm out for the night. Good night, War Veggies. Thanks for hanging out, man. Curious how the models look. I love the aesthetic Warma Hordes as a whole. You know, they really need to... I mean, let me just tell them how to do their business, right? But I would really like to see more put into, like, the IKRPG and pushing the role-playing element. It's such a huge audience. It seems like a practical approach and that you'd have a good audience. And if you have an interesting lore, and they already do, because the aesthetic of Warmachine and the Iron Kingdoms is amazing and interesting and unique, and the stories are decently told, like quite well told even. This is nobody knows them. Nobody's hearing the lore, and you know, even 40k people, and talk to them enough. If they fall out of playing the game, they're reading the lore and it keeps them interested, and then they come back to the game. It's not just like this totally separate entity, and it's been kept so separate for so long. It's very frustrating to watch. It's like, what a waste, you know? Dang it, Miranda, I hadn't heard the word Beanie Babies in 20 years. Way to ruin a perfectly good streak. I don't know how you've managed to go through life for the last 20 years not hearing the word Beanie Babies. I owned Beanie Babies. That's like, you know, pretty young at the time, but yes. Beanie Babies. I remember because they were trying to, what a marketing ploy, man. Saying that that was going to be worth so much at the turn of the century. For some reason, like, why? Why would these little plush cat toys be worth anything? But whatever. Planet X was supposed to crash into us like 3 years ago. That was a letdown. Damn it, Todd. Coming soon to your theater near you. Or Wargamer Girls 99 Luftballons, the movie. I'd watch that. Night, Jake. I was saying, oh, right. Good night, War Veggies. Yeah, I felt we could have got refunds on our tickets to see the movie 2012. False advertising. Beanie Babies, Titty Rocksman, Pet Rocks, Tamagotchis, and the other little, what is it, Digipets? Little things that died if you didn't wake up at 8 in the morning. And I was homeschooled, so I always slept in, and yeah, those animals died every day. I think they were just designed to, so parents could be like, this is what raising a pet would be like, and somehow make you not want a pet because they're so annoying, but actual pets are vastly superior. And that's the secret. And they hold back from children. 2012. As a designer, I can say with great confidence that Privateer doesn't have a damn idea how to manage or promote their games. But why? Like, is it just not understanding the market? Is it just not having the right people in the right places? It did do quite well, like, for a number of years. In fact, it kept rising and rising as GW kept getting more and more draconic and would harass game stores and kept putting out all these really restrictive rules before the CEO, I guess, got ousted, and then they replaced him with somebody who understood that maybe the online marketplace wasn't the devil And then so many people just went back to 40K that I do wonder if that's part of what harmed the Warmachine audience so much. But as far as, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't know that they're popular opinions. It sucks. Because when you really, really like something, I mean, I guess it's probably how a parent feels, right? Where you're like, no, I care about you and I want you to do well. Will you stop being an idiot now? You know, you just get to watch in horror as the things you care about just spiral out of control. It's probably a very dramatic example. I don't think that's quite applicable, but it is sad to see how much of the market's dried up for Warmachine. They've got beautiful models, they've got interesting stories, they've got this cool aesthetic, and I don't think they tie any of it together. And then, yes, there was the press ganger thing, although I do understand why they had to get away from that. See, Jay and Scott, you know what's up. They've got good stories. Losing their press gangers, stopped the printing the books. No Quarter. Oh, I was just looking at No Quarter the other day. And it was a really good magazine. Hey, Bells, welcome. When the best possible avenues for content of your game always come from off-platform, your website's barely navigatable, and there's no reasonable lane for related media. They have big issues. You're not wrong. It just makes me sad. Teddy Ruxpin was so good. My mom got me one. The animatronic eyes and mouth moved as he voiced lines from the cassette. For a kid that never saw stuff like that outside of Disneyland, it was magic. I don't think I ever had anything like that. Yes, you're spot on. I was in Japan in the mid to late 90s in the Tamagotchi, and they were a huge thing. Yes, moms got them for the kids so they would know what it was like to care for a pet. The only reason you prosper is your competition's poor choices. It's never enough. And I think that's exactly spot on, Zach. Like, I share that opinion completely. Because that's just, it's like rating on luck in a game. Like, I'll just hope that my opponent makes bad decisions and then I'll do all right, rather than me, having a good strategy. I've seen a bunch of video games that I love just fade into the night. I feel like Obi-Wan. You are the chosen one. I loved you. Rest in peace, Dawngate. Well, that's also the nature of stories and stuff. I miss Grandia for that reason. GW pulled their heads out. People left many games, not just Warmachine. Plus Mark III didn't do them any favors. Press gangers did have to go. Isn't that Butcher? I thought you didn't play him. He's not Butcher! I understand the confusion, but he's not. He's Dragos Dragovich. He's an attachment to the Warmachine, guys. He does act a lot like Butcher. I mean, I don't like it. He's very close, but he's not Butcher, I promise. Butcher's smaller and weaker and would be crushed under Dragovich's hammers easily. I mean, Lola's got nothing on probably this guy. He's got 2 attacks at reach. Totally mess Butcher up. He offers good things to my Mana demo core. Okay, he gives them like a relentless charge, and he makes them tough. Wait, no, does he make them tough? That's the battle plans. Here, I'll pull up his card and describe exactly what he does. Oh yeah, he's got like this sanguinary bond that he can do as a mini feat. Oh yeah, he gives the demo core vengeance. That's pretty useful. So, kind of like that. So no, I don't play Butcher. Notably, as someone who even has interest in getting product, their supply chain is an absolute joke. That said, I'm glad to have good friends who love the game and they're willing to share alike. Fair enough. GW still hasn't won me back. The new sisters are great and Chaos is still awesome. Some have gotten better, but Dark Eldar as a race got robbed. But isn't that just a cycle? I mean, GW just sort of churns through the codices, and as a new one comes out, it's the betterer one. And Dark Eldar should have their go at some point. They've always, I don't know, they seem crazy strong to me. Chris, welcome. I might return to Warmachine if they update. My man, Jake McBain. I feel ya. GW finally realized that at least they have to make an attempt to move the plot forward to keep people interested. I mean, Warmachine is doing that, to be fair. I mean, we've got Oblivion happening, the Infernals have come in. That's based on, like, the deal that happened 900 years ago or so, a bunch of years ago, with Thamar and, I guess, the Infernals, which is how humans got magic. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening story-wise. I don't know that most of the people who play the Oblivion rules have any idea why the Infernals are even here, though. So that's a little frustrating. I did get the mini crate version of the Butcher as Santa Claus. Oh, yeah. My mini crate's supposed to ship out. I don't know what the new one is yet. I haven't been paying attention. I just, like, get a new box, and I'm like, oh, what is this one? So that's been kind of fun. Anyone else ever assembling the Warhammer Underworld's Grimwatch? They aren't push-fit. They are gently coerce-fit parts that are so thin they bend when putting into place. Oh, yeah, you maybe just scrape those pegs or something and get them to slide in. Because I'd rather have a loose fit that you just glue than have to really coerce the model. Move the plot forward and pump out more Marines. It's Marines. And Miranda, how late are you streaming tonight? For another 30 minutes. So at 9 local time, I'll be ending. If Privateer partnered with someone like, say, Amazon, full storefront online and focused on creating more materials, content, and broadening their organized play, since that seems important to them. Well, there has been an issue of SKU bloat. I know that was an argument because they do have like a crap zillion models and solos and, types of units. That one of the problems with the storefront issue is that the storefront doesn't know which products to carry because there's so many. And they're not generic fits like what GW does, is they'll have Space Marines. Which ones are they? I don't know. They can be Blood Angels, they can be Ultramarines, they can be whatever. You can fit a chapter because they're just the one box. There are some exceptions, but generally that's the case. That's not the case with Warmachine. Everything's a unique model, and there's not really any customization options in order to put into a kit. So that probably is part of it. They do need to like clean it up or combine SKUs or something. Now really GW focuses on Space Marine first, then Chaos Marines, then the aliens have to take their turn with the time left. Huh, I guess I hadn't considered that, but I've always been an Imperium girl. Okay, no more serious commentary from me. I'm here for hobby paints and memes. Fair enough. I'm really looking forward to the inevitable Infernal Grimkin clash. I want to see my Nightmare Children wreak havoc. I really hope that they do a good job. I hope they aren't just like slapped down with, impunity. Like, the Grimkin should be able to put up some decent fight, even if it's just like by virtue of having an immunity to the infernal magic or something. And, Old Witch 3 is just so beautiful that I obviously want her to win because, one, I want the world to stay as it is, and the Old Witch is the coolest character in the game. Oh my god, Butcher, did you see the Monster Apocalypse special where the monster lost Lola and is now a convict gladiator? My first words seeing it were literally, did Privateer press Snipe Miranda to work for them? That's amazing. Yeah, Butcher. What an overrated model. What a grossly overrated model. Why does anybody like him? He's so dumb. I do like that GW finally gave some more plastic to Craft World Eldar. See, there's something. Shakes fist at Privateer's production team. It's okay. It's okay, Zach. For what it's worth, they're a big enough company that they probably have some longevity left in them. But yeah, they're going to have to definitely start making some choices. I had to get a taxi the other day. I got in. Right in the middle of the dash was the Primaris Funko. Wow. Do you think your taxi guy had any idea? Or, it's probably reasonably popular in a tiny little UK. Must dash to another location. Oh yeah, that's fine. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did, J. Alexander. Appreciate it. I've been to the extent. I would break them, no doubt. I bend the extended blood drops on my blood angels way too often. Yeesh. The biggest problem for PB came when they killed their press ganger program. I understand why they got rid of it. Yay, litigation risks. That's what's ruining the world. But they kept the game front and center at our game stores. Yeah, and without any sort of system in place to say, hey, we're doing this instead, or just something to give people and kind of at least get the press gangers who have now been outed back on your side. It's always like, yes, I understand the reasons, and I do. I can't say I blame them. It's just the oh my gosh, the execution of it all was probably a little off. I mean, the Infernals basically have to lose. They already released Riot Quest, so the game where the Infernals won. So, there you go. I have to go out and get some photos. Have to love and leave you all. Have a great week. Bye, Larian. Thanks for hanging out, man. Taxi guy is a full-on tabletop guy. We chatted the entire journey about what we were painting. It's amazing. Yeah, I thought Riot Quest was just a possible future too, but I guess that's the what if. Interesting. That's where you saw the butcher. Yeah, I haven't gotten into Riot Quest. I don't know. It just hasn't seemed exciting to me. I could be wrong, obviously, but just. So, as far as the arena or the what if world, the video game, freaking Heroes of the Storm, has that sort of premise as well. And I'm sure they're not the only one. It's just the one I played, and that game was quite fun. And so with something like Riot Quest, I mean, wouldn't that make a good video game for a privateer to pursue? It seems like that might make a lot of sense because it's arena based and you're just using, I assume, fewer minis. I don't know enough about the game, but that seems like that'd be potentially a really perfect way of putting out the IP into pop culture. Because, I mean, war games, they're great and fun and basically a secret to everybody. Even GW, pawns out their license every chance it gets because that's a huge amount of recognition. I need to stare at this model again a second. How am I doing this hammer? Oh, so much brass. So much brass. Well, I'll just base coat it. Good. I can use my Larry brush. Just gonna get that brown coverage. Hey, Dave, how you doing? I mean, every time I go to Warmachine University to read up on the game, the site is ridden with privacy issues or red flags. Worrying trend. Interesting. Anyone ever painted a Warhammer 40k Rhino Razorback before? Does anyone know what the Space Marine gunner that comes with it actually is? It has a cog with a skull on one shoulder pad. Asking for a color scheme. A cog with a skull on the shoulder pad. Isn't that Mechanicus? Doesn't sound right. Alright, so we're just, this is my wide range coverage brush, which I've grown quite fond of. His name is Larry. Yeah, I'm just getting that painting on. Figure if I just base coat the whole thing and just pick out the colors from there, that is probably going to be easier than picking in the browns, and I still get my primer all covered, which is generally the goal as well. We should all go the Total War way, getting into the Warmachine fantasy lore with Total Warhammer 2. Not even a GW fan. I feel personally offended by end times. My poor Tomb Kings. Now, I think Vermintide takes place during end times, and I'm quite enjoying. I do love me my Vermintide, so if that's what it takes, then end times is fine with me. But yeah, as far as most of the just proper Warhammer lore, I haven't followed much of that. And I've got a vast amount of the Black Library to dig into. And 2019 was really full of basically all Warmachine lore all the time. And I've still got a few books left to finish it out, but I'm most of the way through their library. So, go me. But, they need to come out with more content. Need more. But I guess I've got plenty of the Black Library to read in the meantime. I've got not all of them, a vast amount of the ebooks, including much of the Horus Heresy. So, should be good. Should be. Oh, Tech Marine. There you go. I have the big Ultramarines Sons of Ultron paint guide, and I see a long distance shot of said Space Marine Rhino Gunner. He has red arms and a blue helmet and body. Okay. I thought he was. But why is he with a Stormbolter gun if he's a Tech Marine? Sometimes you have to start small and work to a larger scale. I'm going to a local game store tomorrow to teach the store owners how to play Frostgrave. They don't carry any wargaming products. Oh, interesting. Well, Frostgrave is probably a really good game because all they have to do is carry the books. Anyone have a good solution for a storable gaming space? My wife and I just got into AOS, but don't have room for a permanent 6x4 table. Trying to think. You could make a foldable table with some hinges if you were to be crafty about it. If you have space to store just a flat 6x4 board, like plywood or something, maybe lighter, then you could store that somewhere and then just take it out and put it on top of your normal dining room table, say, and then play the game that way. And that's if you're wanting to play those games. There are specific games out there that are designed to fit on smaller spaces like you describe, and that might be worth considering as well. So one of the things I'm wondering, I think I'm going to actually do a brown on this coat here, on this dog first, and then bring it up with a dry brush of the antique, because then I should have a little bit better depth to the coat, and it won't just be this blanket off-white. That's what I'm trying. It's my new thing. I mentioned I really enjoy this brush. Alright. 20 minutes left already. Oh well, I have to get to bed early tonight anyway. I have to get up at 3:45 in the morning as part of a work thing. So, wish me luck. Ooh, under tap, okay. Remember to enable the beta on your Vermintide 2 to get the new Drachenfels level. Oh, that's right, I totally need to do that. There's some decent folding game tables out there, but I have to go find the links. Yeah, the folding ones would be something to take a look for. We have multiple display cases for our armies. Folding or rotating is really the best way to put up against a wall. I use 3 2x4 panels for mine. You know what, you can get these bit foldable tables from Walmart. They're called Ideal or something like that. Yeah, I could store them as tables. I did help build a 6x4 table where we made the legs detachable with bolts, and he stored under his bed. There you go. Talking a friend and letting you use his game table. Now he or she has a problem. Thick MDF from Home Depot will work. No, 345 is awful. Dark 30, yes. The horrible, oh my god, it's early. And then I get to drive for 3 hours. So, that'll be super safe. Hence the need to get to bed early. I need to be able to get at least one episode of Star Trek in before I go to bed because it's amazing. I watched Trouble with Tribbles last night, and it seems to be the turning point where Kirk gets super sassy. He hasn't really been during most of the series. Like, in my experience, I think Picard is a far, like, you know, harsher captain than Kirk. So, I've been super enjoying that series. Alright, so we can need some more brown on here. 3:45 is fine. That'll be my time in 5 minutes. Yeah, but you're not waking up at that time. You're just like barely going to bed around that time, Paul. It's different. I've stayed up till 3:45 plenty of times. But it's different when you have to like wake up at that time. Somehow it's like the most miserable. I don't know why. It's just the nature of it. So, yes. Unfortunately, so much of my painting, I mean, I guess it's just the nature of it, right? You're just base coating most of the time. Then you cut in the details and you're done. It's like you don't actually spend a whole lot of time just painting specific elements for a long time. At least not with the stuff I have. There's probably like fancier models that have the exception, but that ain't me. Alright, so that is a Menoth skull, or helmet. And I could probably get some fur down there. And I'm going to have to cut back into a smaller brush. Get my detail coverage in there. So yeah, in short, working on Warmachine. I'm going to play some games at Indystorm. Hang out with people. Hopefully I'm sure it'll be a good time. Never been to Indianapolis before. Never been able to go to Gen Con, so this will be kind of a fun, in the area kind of thing to do. Let's see here. Oh, those great foldable tables are called Lifetime. Oh yeah, I have like a bunch of those. Picard is the voice of reason. Kirk flies off the handle too often. I don't know, man. He's generally a little more coy than that. And then, like, the group of Spock and Kirk and McCoy, like, they're great. They're so fun to watch. And don't get me wrong, because totally loved Data growing up. And, well, I mean, I really grew up with Voyager, but that's, like, the Doctor in 7 of 9 is just, like, a unit. Totally love them. Please, for the love of God, get enough sleep. Friend's son had a fatal car crash this morning because he fell asleep while driving. Oh, jeez. So I'll have company, so it should be fine. But I agree. That's a really bad way to go. Jeez. Just bought one of the alpha tables. Ooh, nice. What wolf got hammered? Happy New Year's. I'm fortunate enough to have a room for a 4x8 table in the deep, dark recesses of my basement. See, and I'm in New Mexico, so we don't really have basements here because it's too hard to cut through the rock. So my 4x8 table is, it's more like 4x6, but I've got a table in this room, but it's upstairs. In my opinion, Kirk was the reckless trailblazer, Picard the consummate diplomat, and Sisko the caretaker who got pushed too far. Interesting. See, I'll have to, because I'm assuming Sisko's from Deep Space Nine, and that's the one I've been out of. And so, like, I've seen some TNG, seen plenty of original series at this point, so I'm all Voyager. And that was Janeway. She was, like, I liked her pretty well. So I'll have to see what Deep Space Nine had. All right, speaking of sleep, it's time for bed. Good night, Ken. Thank you so much for hanging out. Back to a positive note, see if you can find a used folding ping pong table. Yeah, those are really big. Because I don't, it's an option. Because maybe you could even cut it. Yeah, it has been a while, Space Wolves. I hope you're doing well. I've seen some of your progress on my Facebook. I appreciate you sharing the images. At least when you get up at 3:45, it'll be afternoon for me. I can vent. I'll be driving. I can't vent to you. I can text you. Zach Donich? Indiana college survivor. What school? Never been to Gen Con. I can talk to some people if you want. Help run a booth at Gen Con. Know a few exhibitors. Maybe. I've got a friend of mine helps with like the Chessex stuff over there too. It's an option. I just have to figure that out. One for time off, and travel. What Warcasters am I running these days? Well, I'm still a fan of Iris because he's my consummate military leader. Fan of Sorsha, she's pretty awesome. Kind of exploring a little bit of Zerkova too, Obavnik, and but I haven't fully painted her up. She's been interesting to paint because I'm trying to go with the black and white theme from her artwork, and it turns out that's really difficult, so she's been hidden. Harkovich and Sorsha 3. Sometimes Vlad, but I've really liked the traditional armies, and so I stick more with the military-based stuff. Kirk is a firm advocate for cowboy diplomacy. You know, he does a pretty good job. I watched the episode before Trouble with Tribbles where they're on the prison planet, and Scotty's up on murder charges because these women keep dying around him, and he's holding the knife and he doesn't remember what happened, and it's shot in the most hilarious way possible. And Kirk's like, well, we have to use their laws. Admittedly, he kind of goes around it, but he tries. I don't think he's horrible at it. I don't think he necessarily just breaks the rules, but I'll have to compare him because I feel like Picard's more likely to do that. I don't know. Indy, you will only be a mere 4 to 6 hours away. Yeah, fair enough. DS9 portrayed a realistic Federation or vision of the future. Realistic, huh? Alright, I'm curious to see what that is. Went to DePaul in Greencast? Poor Eric having to defend Indianapolis in the chat. Hey, you made it. I've got about 13 more minutes. It gets good at the end of the second season and onward. I'm going all in for Star Trek, so I'm going to watch all of the original series and all of the movies. And I've already seen Wrath of Khan, but I think I'll have a better context for it now, watching it again, because I saw the originating episode of the guy who I believe is recast for the movie. And then I'll do the Next Generation, and then I'll see DS9, and then Voyager. I might stop after that. Let's see. I'll get to them all. Yeah, it looks like everyone needs more time these days. And Miranda, you're welcome about the updates I'm putting up on your Facebook. I'll try to do all my projects almost the same time to crunch my time. Well, you're more efficient than I am. Oh, Miranda, that reminds me, are you actively looking for people to play you in Albuquerque, or is your dance card full up for the year? No, if people are interested in playing games in Albuquerque, they can definitely reach out to me. Honestly, they can just email me or reach out to me on my Facebook. But otherwise, it's just wargamergirl@gmail.com. But I'm always down for some games. Yes, for battle reports. I don't mind long drives. I once drove from North Central Florida to Indianapolis to Gen Con and back. I did the drive up in one day. A lot of it depends on the vehicle you're driving, because there are some vehicles that just are not comfortable. There was a diesel Jetta, not mine, but I was driving it for a thing I had to go to like 2.5 hours away. And by the end of that drive, it was probably one of those miserable drives I've had. And 2.5 hours really isn't that much, especially when you live in New Mexico and you're like 400 miles away from any other major city. But it was just so uncomfortable, and seats were very stiff, and just like you're numb when you get out of the car. You feel like your legs are getting uneven circulation and such. It's just, so that's a huge factor. If you've got a comfortable ride, and not so comfortable you fall asleep, obviously, but one that doesn't make you numb either, then you can probably drive for a pretty long time. But company also makes a big difference, because I am the type of person who, if I don't get enough sleep, I go crazy. So many skulls. So many skulls. don't know. Maybe these are his parents. I feel like that might have been the case. Like, they didn't get him what he wanted for Cador Christmas. And so now he wears their skulls. Dragovich might have that personality type. Homicidal. I guess this is a good example of me painting up a model for stats. Yeah, jerk. I say that, there's still plenty of Cador models I won't touch. Not just the butcher. There's also that one little prick guy that I can't remember the name of. What's his name? Oh, Sneery McGee, that guy, though. Younger Warcaster started as a junior. You have a dance card? Yeah, what, Chris? Don't you? Poor Iroh's had a rough time in his fluff lately. It's true. But I mean, I don't think they were ever going to let Cador get away with what they got away with. I like Picard, but he is prone to very long speeches, whereas Kirk carefully considers the situations and takes decisive action, my kind of guy. I do admittedly quite enjoy Kirk. Like, I appreciate him. And apparently I love 60s TV, because that's just that type of stuff I just totally fall in love with very easy. Yeah, see, as far as the driving goes, the vehicle makes a difference. Train trip is the best. We don't really have that option here. We're too out in the middle of nowhere. We can kind of take an Amtrak, and I've looked into Amtrak from Albuquerque to Chicago, and that's about 22 hours. And it seems kind of interesting, but it's, so many days. Humvee's not so comfortable, especially if you're a passenger. The battery is under the passenger seat, and on long drives, the battery gets super hot. Oh my, that's a weird design. Malachi. Oh yeah. Yeah, something like that. Oh, thanks. It's just the base coating. So I need to get his face on. Maybe I can do that before I go. You going to Adepticon this year? That's the plan. Are you going to be there, Chris? Inquiring minds want to know. We all want to see you. Hang out. Chat about things and whatnot. Catch up. This guy's got so many scars. And he's the one picking the fight, right? I mean, there's no way this guy's like quietly sitting in the corner of a tavern just eating his chicken legs, wings, whatever they eat out there. Usually some form of rat. And then like somebody comes and bullies him. He is a jerk. No doubt. You are going to be there. Oh, good. Yes, we'll have to make that work. I'm just figuring out the hoteling and such. I guess asking you to join the Lail Resistance would be futile. I really love Cador. Just need to calm down a little bit. It's like this holding on to the past thing really isn't working well for them. So, yeah, no. It is what it is, but I mean, I'm pretty confident that Lail's got it anyway. I have to officially finish reading that part of the fluff. He's got really interesting shaped eyes. Took a train from Buffalo, New York to Seattle, Washington. Walk around, just watch the scenery, preferred way of traveling. That's an interesting method. That does sound, how long was that? That must have been 5 days on the train? Something like that. Are you bored at night? Because you're not seeing it the whole time. Did you ever feel sick on the plane? Like, does motion sickness affect you? Lord, do not take Amtrak unless you're into being uncomfortable. Well, there's not really a lot of options around here. Okay, so we've got his little eye spots. Come on, think about it. You can do it. And you made it. Alright, so I've put some white in where his eyes are, the slits. And that's just the base, right? And so now I get to dot in his beady eyes. Beady and vindictive eyes. So anyone noticed on Duncan Rhodes' Twitter that he's painting and showing off many Warlord miniatures? Is he getting prepared for a job there? No idea. 2 days? That's it? Oh my gosh, that's great. Driven from I've been a passenger on a drive from New York to New Mexico because that's where my parents are from, and they owned property out there growing up. And so that was like 3 days on the road, and that was an awful, awful drive. I think I'm gonna fly home for a visit and drive out. Are you going to Adepticon, Dan? Let's hang out. That's exciting. What are you doing for room? You're just like sleeping in a cardboard box outside somewhere? Or you're actually gonna have a place? Alright, let's see if we can get this eye business sorted out. Okay. So for him, his eyes are actual slits, which look a little funky at the moment, but you'll see, clean it up. Now, that is actually quite horrible, but he's not done. Don't put down a good commander without a good wash of eyes. Alright, so we're going to take that skin tone again. Clean up the underside of the eyes. Make them not huge and crazy, which is why you want a good pigment for your eye color as well, because you want to be able to cover strong pigments like black. Alright, so basically I just took the skin tone and went under his eyes. It'll focus, I promise. And then that kind of brings him a little more in line. And now he gets eyebrows. Now, black eyebrows would be very dramatic, so I'm going to give him brown eyebrows. Are you going to scarify his face? Yes. Yes, most certainly. He is scarred up. Whoa. Oh, thank you, Harrison Jib. I'm off to get a haircut. Night, Eric. Thank you for hanging out. I traveled by train for 2 days once. The ground was unstable a whole day afterwards. Ooh, it's crazy. Okay, making my last post for the night. Sorry for gushing about the 40k chaos subs, but I just had to share the idea with someone that might find it interesting. Having no wargamer buds sucks. Fun as always. Well, Mandragora, it's always nice having you. I really appreciate it. Got 1 minute left. I'm gonna throw his eyebrows on. It's gonna be great. Yeah, he's got to put on his face. And there's a really good ridge model on the model, I should say, good ridging. So, and it should show up a little bit better if I put a wash on his face to bring out some of the details anyway. So it should be good. There we go. Yeah. Now that's an angry looking commander man. Let's get it nice and close and make that camera focus. Figure it out. Now, yes, he does need his scarring, but there's his face, his eyes, pretty much in place, his eyebrows, doing eyebrow things. It's okay. Scarring and a wash will make it better. So. I'll be staying with Owen as much as I'd like to roam around and bum rooms off people. Well, it's nice that you can, you know, settle down once in a while, Dan. Trips don't bother me. If it's 5 hours to Warhammer World on Coach. Nice. Hey, Aaron! One flat eyebrow and one quick. Hey, that's how the model's like painted, or the model's designed. So, yeah. It's just being stern-faced, obviously. Okay, we're gonna end it here at 9, and I need to go to bed, and a bunch of you guys probably have to as well. So, you have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and happy wargaming, or painting, or hobbying, or reading the lore, or whatever it is that floats your boat. Since our last minute. Yes, by all means, Jay. Definitely. And if you're interested in learning about playing any of these games, I've got a bajillion things and can happily show you. Alright, well, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you. Oh, one more thing from Space Wolves. I have to work tonight from 9 p.m. to 7 in the morning. Whew. See ya. Have a good night. Alright, well, have a good night, and see you later.